you were building racing cars?
No, we were building street cars, AMG street cars at the prototype stage.
Street cars in the 80s, AMG street cars.
Street cars.
Perfect. And that's what's about. That's what everything today is about. It's the half century of AMG, which is our premier performance brand for Mercedes-Benz. And you've had a lot of interesting ideas and interesting experiences with AMG.
Yeah. So, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Lewis Hamilton for winning the Spa Grand Prix this morning.
The Belgian Grand Prix, yes! Woo!
And of course, it's with the 50 years of AMG, and I was
significant.
Involved with AMG for a good part of 30 plus years.
30 plus years, so you're catching up.
Yeah.
So you've been around for AMG for a long time. Let's start then at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So, as you know, AMG stands for.
Well, A is the last name of one of the founders, is Hans Werner Alfred, and M is Melcher, which is his partner.
Yep.
And G for Grossbach.
Grossbach in
the city where they started all
right.
this stuff.
Exactly. That's actually the hometown of Melcher.
Yep.
And they were both engineers in Mercedes-Benz back in 1965.
Yeah.
So they were all like chummy buddies and mechanics and stuff like that, and they were really interested in
high performance and racing.
Right.
Yeah.
So in their early days, in the mornings, they'd be like clocking in and doing the work. Mm-hmm. And then in the evenings, they'd be like tweaking engines, right?
Yeah, like a lot of people, their hobbies into cars.
Right.
They're really passionate about cars.
That's right.
And they started doing more and more work on their own.
Right.
And they kind of
they got
branch out and start their own business.
So it's funny because it started with Manfred Schick, who's one of their employees, one of the friends of theirs for lunchtime, and said, hey buddy, come on, I got a plan for you. Mm-hmm. I want to run in the DTM, which means, what's a DTM?
Well, actually at that time in the 60s there was not DTM.
Oh, there's a different name, German something.
Yeah, it's different type of endurance series. And they built a car and one of the best races that they won was actually at Spa again, like today with Hamilton winning at Spa.
Right, the 1971 Spa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened though was in 1965 when Manfred Schick, their buddy, ran into them and said he wanted to have an engine built for racing. Both Alfred and Melcher developed a 300 SE and tuned it up so that it would win 10 times in that German touring event. Mm-hmm. So what happened in 1967? They said, you know what? There's money in this, and they think they could do a lot of stuff with racing cars. And so they developed a partnership, Alfred and Melcher, and they developed AMG in 1967, which is exactly 50 years ago. And that's when they founded the company, and they couldn't do it anymore in their garage, which is the ultimate startup garage was really these guys. And so they came up with an idea, hey, why don't we move to, where's that place? Bergstall, which is the first factory for AMG.
Yeah, so when I got into AMG, it was in the early 80s actually. And it was a good time for tuning European cars and hot rodding them. Yep. And AMG was one of the better, biggest brand name. And so we brought in some products to test the market, so to say. And we've been doing pretty well for 2-3 years. And it became so big that AMG wanted to start up AMG of North America. And of course, we like to do that as well. For Canada, and at that time I was only 23 years old, if you were guessing that. And I went to Germany, meet with Hans Werner Alfred and some of his team members in the board, and they say, okay, if you want to do it, we have a business competition as well that want to take the AMG franchise. Yep. But you've been doing it for a few years and they want to send people over to check out what we can do.
So this was back in the 80s, right?
Back in the 80s, yeah.
So how Alfred, or was it Melcher?
He sent people over, some of the employees over.
And at that time, were they still Daimler Chrysler? Was it still, or was it a separate company, right?
Before pre-merger, yeah. Daimler Chrysler did not come in until the mid to late 90s.
And AMG was still an independent company then, right?
Company, yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. And then in the 80s?
Yeah, in the 80s. So, and they asked for is someone who can do more technical rather than a marketing company or a sales rep company. And they check out our business and they say, you've been installing our product for a couple of years already, and it's been a success.
Right.
And can let you do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And can you tell us about the philosophy of AMG in their cars?
Well, AMG has always been about performance and engine in the beginning. Like you say, in the 60s, they were building race engines and race cars.
Yes.
And but of course, they need to make money to keep this hobby of racing going.
Right.
They have to marketing and at that time the baby Benz they call it, came out, the 190E.
The 190E.
Yeah,
yep.
and then the mid-class E-class came out, which was a very popular car to be sold at that time.
So was this the Hammer?
Well, Hammer is a special built vehicle.
Okay, so maybe you want to talk about the Hammer with our audience.
Well, the Hammer is based on 300E.
Yep.
And
it was of the first, if I may jump in, it was the first E-Class with a 5.8 V8 engine in 1986. And it won several times also in some of the contests that they got in.
Well, the Hammer was the fastest sedan that was built at the time.
Fastest production sedan. Yep.
Before there was an M5.
Ah, yes.
So the Hammer the Hammer engine is a piece of art at that time because they take a Mercedes 500 class V8 engine and they had to design a 4-valve cylinder head.
Okay.
And put that 4-valve cylinder head and horseshoe it into a 300E body.
Wow.
So it was the first V8 300E class.
A luxury fast car.
Yeah. And at that time, having like 350, 380 horsepower was pretty powerful then.
Okay.
And I had built one Hammer, and we also borrow other Hammers from the United States, the AMG of North America.
Yeah.
And I took it up to 180 miles an hour.
Wow.
For the first time in that car.
Cool. Yeah. So Flying Tiger now was the representative of AMG in Vancouver and the greater in BC, I guess, or the country, right?
Well, no. Well, AMG, Mercedes, when Mercedes bought AMG in the late 90s, they took back all the franchises.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the back in the.
So that was
90s.
basically the end of privateer or independent AMG. From there on, it's all in-house Mercedes.
Got it. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now today's AMG is all about what they say driving performance. So it has its roots back in the motorsport, the racing roots, but also it's now branched out into the emotional value of the car, or in certain interiors are now more important. So it's not just now about the engine, but it's also about the whole emotional value of the car.
That's right. Yeah. AMG marketing now, of course, they were doing very well with the SLS AMG GT3 in the endurance racing series and the GT racing series.
Right.
And for the last couple of years, they had the GT series cars, the replacement with the new body, the GT cars.
Yep.
And now they, with the same body chassis, they use their production engine, and they produce the AMG GT4 racing cars.
Oh, the GT4, yeah. So I want to talk to you about finally the future of AMG, which is something I'd like to share with you. It's consistent with the strategy of Mercedes-Benz that Dr. Zetschke actually shared with the audience back in 2016, I think. And it's all about this strategy called CASE, C-A-S-E, where C stands for connected, thank you. Connected. A stands for autonomous. S stands for shared, and E stands for electric. So that is part of the whole Mercedes-Benz philosophy now, wherein AMG now has to contribute its part in the future with electrical. So you don't be surprised to see an AMG, an efficient AMG vehicle still, but with probably a hybrid engine or a pure electric or something like that. So most of the R&D stuff is now going towards that area.
Yeah.
And then there's also another area which is called connected, where in all the vehicles, so imagine all these Mercedes-Benz vehicles are talking to each other, and the risk of actually having an impact or a damage or a collision with a fellow Mercedes-Benz is probably nil. So that is the future. Everybody's gonna, all the cars gonna talk to each other and make sure that they know where they are at any part of the road.